What if the victim you kidnapped wasn't helpless at all? What if she was just waiting for you to lock the door? That's the nightmare inside Abigail. This isn't just another vampire movie. It's about what happens when you realize too late that you were never in control. A group of criminals kidnaps a little girl. Easy money, simple job. But the moment they lock her in that room, the game changes. Because Abigail isn't the prey. She's the predator. And they just walked into her trap. The crew in Abigail thinks they have it all figured out. Kidnap the girl, hold her for ransom, get paid, walk away. Simple. But they make one fatal mistake. They assume she's powerless because she's small, because she's young, because she looks innocent. And that assumption costs them everything. Here's the thing about underestimating people. It's not just arrogance. It's a survival error. Because the moment you stop seeing someone as a threat, you stop protecting yourself. And that's when they strike. Abigail doesn't need to overpower them. She just needs them to believe she can't. And the second they let their guard down, she's already won. The biggest threat is always the one you underestimate. One of the most terrifying things about Abigail is how quickly control shifts. At first, the kidnappers are in charge. They have the weapons, the plan, the numbers. But control isn't about what you have. It's about what you think you have. The moment they lock Abigail in that room, they think they've contained the threat. But they haven't. They've just trapped themselves with it. That's the illusion of control. You think locking the door keeps danger out. But sometimes, it just keeps you in. And Abigail plays with that brilliantly. Every time the crew thinks they've regained control, the situation gets worse. Because they're not fighting a victim. They're fighting something that was always 3 steps ahead. Control is an illusion, especially when you think you have it. As the night goes on, the crew starts to fall apart. Not because of Abigail, because of each other. Fear doesn't just make you scared. It strips away the mask. It shows who you are when survival is on the line. Some people become heroes, some become cowards, and some become monsters. The crew in Abigail isn't a team. They're strangers forced together by greed. And the moment things go wrong, that greed turns into paranoia. Who do you trust when everyone's lying? Who do you save when you can barely save yourself? And that's what makes Abigail so brutal. It's not just about surviving a vampire. It's about surviving the people next to you. Because fear doesn't bring people together. It tears them apart. Here's where Abigail gets interesting. Abigail isn't just a monster. She's a product of what was done to her. She didn't choose to be a vampire. She was turned, trapped, used. And now, she's doing to others what was done to her. That's the cycle of monstrosity. Hurt people hurt people. Trapped people trap people. And the scariest part? Most monsters don't see themselves as monsters. They see themselves as survivors. The kidnappers think they're the victims, but they're not. They're just the latest in a long line of people who underestimated the wrong person. And Abigail? She's not evil. She's just done being the victim. Monsters aren't born. They're created by circumstance. By the end, Abigail makes one thing clear. There's no winning this. There's no outsmarting her. There's no escape. There's only survival. And even that's not guaranteed. That's what makes the film so relentless. It's not about defeating the monster. It's about lasting long enough to see morning. And that's the lesson. Sometimes you can't fix the situation. You can't negotiate your way out. You can't fight your way through. You just have to survive it. The crew in Abigail keeps trying to regain control, but control was never an option. The only option was endurance. And most of them don't have it. Sometimes there's no escape, only survival. Abigail is brutal, bloody, and unforgiving, and the reason it works is because it understands something most horror films don't. The scariest monsters aren't the ones you can see, they're the ones you underestimate, the ones you think you've trapped, the ones you never saw coming. And maybe that's the real lesson. The predator isn't always the one with the power. Sometimes it's the one you thought was powerless. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late.